This is Savio. I've been seeking answers to some of life's most perplexing questions my entire life. In 2014, I was diagnosed with stage 3 cancer, and ever since, I realized my calling existed outside of what I knew to be familiar. This podcast is your home for survivors like myself and those who are searching to find meaning to their why. In Season 2, the show includes a mix of coaching sessions followed immediately by interviews with those from all walks of life who have been successful in the business, marketing, coaching, and financial worlds. The intent is to show the human experience in its rawest form so that others may glean insight. Nothing is rehearsed or has been edited. As a board-certified wellness coach, my job is to ask the deep questions of those trying to make sense of their place in this fractured world. I believe life speaks to us in different ways. Many of us listen but don't know how or where to begin. As someone who has crossed the bridge between life and death, I say simply, begin where you are now and get busy living. If you liked today's episode, I would appreciate it if you could share it and subscribe. Be sure to tag me at The Human Resolve so I can reciprocate in kind. So without further ado, welcome to the Human Resolve podcast. High performance coach Vamsi Polimetla urges his clients to always seek the limits outside of their comfort zone. But when a developmental disorder affects one of his own children, he soon discovers a newfound appreciation for food and the energy it brings. Good to see you, Vamsi.
Hey, Savio. Great to be here.
Wonderful. So what would you like coaching on?
I would like to maybe spend some time on the diet. I know that's not like maybe the area of your expertise, but that is where I think like maybe we all should be focusing on, because whatever that we are putting into our body is basically like we are becoming that person.
So what I'm hearing is that you want to focus on diet when it comes to the fact that we sort of put a lot in ourselves that we want to sort of get the same output. Is that correct?
Absolutely.
Great. So what would be a great outcome for today's coaching conversation?
So I would like to understand like maybe what is your approach towards the diet, and also maybe is there anything that like maybe we have a common audience, like maybe we came from the same area, we gone through like maybe similar things in our life. So I just wanted to learn from you and understand.
Great. So you want to understand how diet sort of works in terms of my own experience, but also how that would sort of benefit other people. Is that correct?
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
Wonderful. So when I say to you food, what comes to mind?
Well, I think like it's a kind of celebration. We all celebrate with food, right? After everything, it's like a reward that you're giving it to your body, yourself. Like maybe after a big workout, what are you going to be drinking? What kind of shake? So when that comes to your mind, you go, I think like I can go 2 extra reps. Anyway, I'm going to have that extra shake, right? So when you're going for a birthday party or maybe a friend's party, like a get together, you always think about, okay, anyway, I'm going to be eating few extra calories in the evening. How about I go for extra mile run? So that is the first thing comes to my mind. It's a reward.
It's a reward, and it's sort of celebrating something. Has it always been something that's been rewarded and celebrated in your life?
It has been all the time, but over the last like maybe decade, Savio, I was consciously looking at how I'm celebrating the food. I'm trying to eliminate the things that are not serving me and also not serving my family members, slowly picking those out and taking them out from our menu.
So what are some examples of things that you've come across that you need to take out?
Absolutely. Just wanted to share like one personal story. About like 11 years ago, my son was 2 years old. He got diagnosed with autism. So at that point, I had no idea what the term autism means. So I spent so much time doing research on what is this all about? Why maybe people are talking about this? Then I realized that it's something like maybe inside of the mind. And we immediately changed few things in our diet, in our home. And we saw like maybe 60% improvement just within a month in terms of his behavior. And I started like maybe spending more time. Wow, this is so amazing, because of this particular food, kids' behavior is changing. How about like maybe what else? So we identified something called casein. This is like comes with dairy products, and we started eliminating that from all sources, like maybe no cheese, no milk at home, and that alone I think like helped my son to develop real fast. He's super good now. It's pretty much like maybe out of the spectrum. Again, like autism is not like a small thing. It's a wide spectrum, right? So when he was like maybe 10 years ago, he was at a different level. Now he's in a different level. He still have like a few things related to that spectrum. I think like maybe he's going to still have those things, but the diet every time, Savio, this is something that like maybe always like maybe fascinates me. If he goes for a birthday party or he eats something that where he's not supposed to be eating, immediately we see the results in next 2 hours. So our brain pretty much like maybe his brain processes that food like differently, like maybe he sees the reactions immediately. So one is to answer your question, completely eliminate all the dairy, and also we eliminated gluten from his diet. So no bread, no wheat, no corn, anything related to the gluten eliminated from that, and also no sugar. Maybe hardly, he's like now 13 years old. He might had candies once or twice in his life, and since he didn't know what that is, he's not even like maybe say, hey, I'm missing this thing. He doesn't even like maybe like so eliminated sugar from that. And initially I did not realize that maybe being adults like we need to follow that. Later, maybe this was about 5-6 years ago, I was working with multiple functional doctors and talking to them, and it came to my mind why I'm not eliminating these things from my diet. And I started like slowly peeling those things. That was a quick the long answer.
Yeah, so I heard eliminating gluten from your diet, eliminating dairy. So what are some benefits that you've noticed from eliminating those?
For me or for my son or overall?
For you.
For me, I think performance. I'm a high performance coach. I clearly see if I eat something with gluten, something with dairy, my performance levels are a little different compared to, again, this is not going to be happening overnight, over the period. If you take like maybe sample of 6 weeks and you completely eliminate everything, the gluten, casein from your diet, and your performance, you can see the metrics completely different than when you have those things into your diet. Again, it's 100%, it's not possible, because like we never know. If you go out for maybe a party to somebody's house, not sure whether they're putting a butter in that, because we can't be that picky, and also sometimes that also upsets them. Oh, this guy is so picky. Right. Yeah. To answer that, it's performance.
So I heard a lot of sort of things that you're eliminating. What are you adding to add to that performance?
Adding into the performance, I'm still like a work in progress. I'm not like a guru or legend in this space. I followed multiple diets, plans. One is like a paleo before. I followed keto diet. I think those two, I think, gave me best results so far. But I'm not good at like adding more vegetables to my diet yet. My wife, she's helping me to consume good portion of vegetables at least like a couple of times a week. So still work in progress. To answer that question, I think like maybe focusing on 100% true. When I'm in a keto diet, I'm 100% keto. I'm not saying that I eat whatever maybe is available. I go very strict, and I go that like a 6-week cycle. That 6 weeks, I'm not entertaining any other ideas. Even if I wanted to skip some parties or like maybe say no to anything, I'll say no.
So before, besides the performance aspect, what other things are you hoping to gain from these additives?
Clarity is one thing. I think the food that what we are putting into our body is going to also impact us on the next day. How clear we are, how our thinking process, And also your skin is going to be much more radiant. The things that are like maybe if you don't put into your body, and you look younger, you feel younger. So that is the main thing. It looks doesn't matter, but like how you feel inside of our body is the most important thing, because the decisions that what we are going to be making is all depend on how we are feeling inside of our body. So the food is definitely a thing that are controlling our feelings.
So when you think of sort of clarity within the body, as you say, where does that resonate to you? Is there a specific area of the body?
It's more about your purpose. It's more about like why you are doing what you are doing, and what kind of like maybe the path that you are in. So it's always like a consistent reminder of like our path, our direction. So it's more on the mindset, I would say, which part of the body that you, to answer your question, it's towards the mind. So the more clear you are, I think the better it is.
And when you were sort of researching all this for your son and sort of reworking the diet, how did you handle all that?
It was not maybe a textbook guidance I got. I tried like many things. This was about like a 10-year journey. I spent like maybe tens of thousands of dollars consulting like many people, going to programs, talking with the biohackers, joining their masterminds, and understanding what is working for them, what is not working for them. So lot of ups and downs, and experimented. Finally, I'm thinking I got something that is working for me and for my family, and also I'm helping like many other high performance athletes in the corporate world to gain the same experience.
So how can Vamsi sort of create more celebration moments when it comes to food and diet?
How can Vamsi create the celebration moments? Simple thing, like every day morning I get up at 5 o'clock in the morning. That's like a non-negotiable for me. I've been doing this consistently for the last 300 days.
Wow.
So every single day I did not take a break during the days that I got like a COVID shots. I did not take the break. I did not take a break on New Year's Day. Did not take a break on my birthday. So 4:45 is the time I get up every day. 5 o'clock I jump on a call, Zoom call, and like about 10-15 other people like me who's going to be joining the call. This is East Coast time, and we talk about like a 5 minutes. What are the things that you're going to be working on for that day? And the moment that is done, I'll put my workout gear. Either I do go to my basement, do my home workout, or maybe I go out for a run, or maybe I go to the gym. It's about like maybe 10 minutes drive from my home. By the time I complete my workout, I know how I'm going to be celebrating this. So I have a simple routine. I come home, put that whey protein. I put like a couple of almonds, maybe put like maybe one fruit in there, add almond milk, and that's my celebration. And my breakfast, Savio, is also a celebration. And also it's something simple. Almost like out of 300 days, I would say 275 days, maybe 280 days, I had the same breakfast. So the breakfast is 3 eggs. I take like a whole eggs, organic, and I take 1 avocado, full avocado. That's my breakfast. So that's also a celebration. To just like say you did it good, and from there my day starts. First I pay dues for my body, then I'll take care of like maybe my business and everything later.
You mentioned earlier that sometimes sort of these restrictions that you have when it comes to food doesn't always work out with people that you see, family members, even individuals' homes that you go to. How do you sort of relegate that? How do you come to terms with that?
Good thing. All of my friends, all of my people that I have limited friends. I'm not like an extrovert. I'm very introvert. Outside of when I'm not wearing my coaching hat, I'm very introvert. I don't even feel like maybe talking to strangers. Right? I don't know maybe how I became a coach and like maybe talking to thousands of people across the globe, but all of my friends knows me exactly what I'm doing. So I'm really grateful for them, and they asked that, is that okay uh, for this breakfast? Is that okay? We're hosting this party at this time. I'm really great to have those kind of friends.
Would you like to do a little experiment with me?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I just want you to get comfortable in your seat. If you feel comfortable or more inclined, you can close your eyes. Just want you to take a couple of breaths in and out. And we're just going to do a quick body scan. I just want you to breathe into the different body parts that I mentioned. The top of the head, the forehead, the eyes, the third eye, the nose, the cheeks, the lips, the neck, the shoulders, upper body, torso, legs, and your feet. Just want you to take a couple more breaths in and out. Just want you to sort of, when it comes to food and diet and it being more celebratory and the restrictions, what is it? What's the ideal? Like, how would you want to be living?
I think flexibility is something comes to my mind. Very flexible in terms of my body and how every part of my body is in my control. I see myself maybe 70 years old, maybe the fittest person around the block, maybe 80 years old, just like living the life. That's something I think always comes to my mind.
Are you still eliminating gluten and dairy and sugar from your diet, living this ideal?
Not by force, but I'm choosing not to put those into my body because I'm feeling that like maybe it's may or may not required. For me, again, like it's not like nobody's putting gun on my head and say you need to eliminate that. If maybe once or twice, a couple of times a year, that's absolutely fine.
What are some of the other things you're doing in this ideal version?
I think always the routine, be consistent, and keep that promise. Whatever that I'm telling it myself, how I'm looking at 80, maybe how I'm looking at 85, 90, just keep that promise. Like if whatever we are doing right now, we are going to become that person. So routine wise, pretty much 30 to 60 minutes every single day, work on your body. And the remaining time, just always be flexible.
If you was to articulate that promise, what would you say it is?
I think like four things comes to my mind. This also like I learned from a lot of legends. Did I live fully? Did I love my life? Did I love everything what I'm doing? And did I learn anything? And the last one, am I leaving my legacy? My dad is really athletic. He's been diabetic for almost 35 years and still very healthy. Every single day he walks minimum like 10,000 steps. I've been like trying to compete with him. 1 month in the last maybe 7 years or 8 years since he got the first Fitbit. He got like pretty much every version of Fitbit. I bet him. Like I crossed his numbers. That 1 month, I ran 200 miles. I signed up for one New York 300-mile race in 2 months time frame. Otherwise, like every single month, he's dominating me in terms of the number of steps. I'll always tell him, 1 week I'm going to be dominating you. So yeah, so that's something. Yeah.
What are some life lessons you've learned from your dad's diagnosis?
It's I think like maybe the program that I got installed based on his activity, his consistency, whether he's here in US or whether he's traveling, like maybe wherever he is, he always like maybe be active, always like a go. He's not like maybe lifting weights. He's still normal human being just like us, and like he's consistency. Get up and go for a walk, and always completing his things. I think that's something that I got it naturally, and trying to just like maybe continue that momentum.
Is when you think of your dad and sort of the situation at hand, even though he's extremely active, are you feeling or sensing that you want to avoid and maybe prevent some of these things, or is it some other type of feeling?
Absolutely. That's a great question, Savio. About 15 years ago, I got into pre-diabetic. So that was 2004. First, like maybe I had like a complete blood work done, and they said like you are very close to getting diabetes. You're pre-diabetic. I was active at that time, not like maybe really religiously active. I was doing here and there, like maybe taking whatever that I was like. It's been 15 years or maybe more now, maybe 17 years now, and I'm still pre-diabetic. And always like my PCP says that it's very rare somebody is in that pre-diabetic for that long, because maybe based on your activity, based on your everything what you are doing, that is preventing you to become a diabetic. So I'm grateful for that. Again, like there are few things that we cannot stop, right? So I'm still trying to figure out how can I just like maybe get out from the pre-diabetic and become completely normal. So even this morning I was checking at my glucose first thing in the morning to see how things are, and think I still have some work to do.
So how does this sort of shake out in terms of eliminating? You mentioned sugars. You mentioned gluten free. You mentioned dairy free. Are you doing any type of additional things like supplementation or anything of that nature?
Not related to diabetic or pre-diabetic. Typically, I take a couple of supplements. In the nighttime, I take magnesium. For that is helping me to cool down everything. And this morning, I was just looking at my shelves before this call. I took like ashwagandha. That is also, I think, like helping me focus. That's like pretty much like help on everything. And during the winter, I take vitamin D3. I take B12 sometimes whenever like maybe my blood results are maybe they recommend me to take B12 a couple of times in the last couple of years. So those are the supplements that I take on regular basis.
And what does your PCP suggest that you do to lower your A1C?
To lower my A1C, I think he said like everything what you're doing is working out. Just keep doing that.
Is that something you're satisfied with, that answer?
No, not at all. Not at all.
I can tell from your facial expressions that it's not something you're satisfied with. So how can we create more accountability around that? Listening to the guidance of your PCP, but still doing things that involve food that's celebratory, but that yet will keep you from getting that diabetes
Absolutely, absolutely. I think one thing I'm thinking about is starting intermittent fasting. I that is I heard like a lot of good things. Haven't incorporated into my routine yet. I tried a couple of times, but like not like as religious as my 5 a.m. routine or like my workout routine. So that is one thing I'm going to be working on. Maybe we can be accountable. You can be accountable for that, and also at least once a week, water fasting. Just water that maybe with some kind of like a pH into the water, pH levels that will help. So those two things I'm considering. I think I also recently was listening to one biohacker conference, and there are some clinics that helping people to solve any problem, including like a cancer, including like a big issues with just water fasting. So all they're doing is they're asking people to join in their clinic for a week, maybe sometimes like maybe 6 months, and all they're going to be treating with the water. It's pretty fascinating.
So
These are the things are free. Yeah, these are the things are free, but like we always look for shiny things, right? So we always look for who is the best doctor to cure, and what is the best antibiotic that we need to put into the body. But any other thoughts, any other recommendations? I'd love to hear from you.
Well, you mentioned a couple of things that sort of sparked my interest. You mentioned that you tried keto. You also mentioned you tried other things. Obviously, there's, things like the carnivore diet. There's things like eating the rainbow, right? But you mentioned earlier about not eating too many vegetables. I'm just sort of curious, like, when you've done these diets, how long have you done them for?
Every time like a 6-week cycle. If I start a keto diet, minimum time is the 6-week cycle. I think we are going to get results if we complete like at least 2 6-week cycles. Paleo diet, I think that was the one I was very consistent for almost 6 months. So that was, I think, like maybe the best time I had. 6 months of consistency, and I really felt like every part of my body is fresh. All the cells are like completely active.
What did your A1C levels change during that time?
That time it was pretty good. Like A1C, very very normal range. Yeah, but one side effect I got during either paleo diet or in the keto diet, my cholesterol levels went up. So that, I think, maybe the side effect I noticed that that is something that like maybe I did not like it.
So Vamsi, given that all that we sort of we spoke about, what do you think an action plan or one step would be in the right direction?
I think follow what worked before. This is the key mantra, right? Do more of what is working and eliminate what is not working. And maybe action plan would be looking at my past, maybe 5-6 years, and do more of maybe the things that helped me before, and start adding more water fasting or maybe intermittent fasting into this. So that way, that's what I'm thinking. I'm open for ideas. I always like bring my empty cup to fill the ideas.
How does the support system work for you when it comes to your diet goals?
My wife, she's like a great supporter for me. She's the one like maybe everything behind the scenes, helping me. So I always like tell her this is what I'm planning on doing for the next 6 weeks, and she's 100% supporting me, but always like looking for options. But accountability is something that I preach. Part of my coaching programs, I work with like a lot of people in the corporate and also entrepreneurs to be more accountable, right? So, but for me, I think I need to have something similar as well.
So a thought just sort of occurred to me, if you're okay with me sharing.
Sure, absolutely.
Sure. You mentioned a few things. You mentioned your high performance. You looked at many different diets. you are sort of helping, your son with, his, health challenge. I'm curious, like, what is your relationship with food? Are you mindful when you're eating?
That's really good question. This is so. Can you expand a little bit about the mindfulness?
Sure. So there's the sort of theory or way called vipassana, which is mindful breathing, mindful walking, mindful doing. There's also mindful eating. How does that food? What is the benefit of that food? What is the interpretation of that food? How is that food being chewed? How is that food being ingested? It creates not only pauses, but it sort of allows you to appreciate the food in a different way. Rather than just fueling, it's really there to sort of create more of a sort of regeneration aspect. They often say food is healing. So just thought it's something I thought I would mention to you.
Absolutely. First of all, thank you for bringing this into my awareness. My wife, she's been talking about this for a very long time, and earlier, maybe 2-3 years ago, when I was at my dining table, I used to have phone on my hand, answering my corporate emails, sending text messages while eating. And she said, like, one day, I think, like, your energy, whatever that you're putting in, going to them, not to you. And kids also used to do the same thing. They used to watch something on their iPad or watch something on the TV. So we made a rule at our home saying that no devices on the table. Even though there is a movie that, like, maybe really, really exciting, it's a dinner time, we need to pause that movie, then go to the dinner and have it. But what you just said, it's like next level. I think we need to start thinking about where that energy is going. I think I'm not doing that, Savio. That's a great reminder. Yeah.
Wonderful. Great. So how does this all shake up with you from where we began to sort of where we're ending?
It is going pretty good. Yeah. I like the way you asked me to close my eyes and just feel every part of the body. I can clearly feel that. And and the last tip that you gave, the food is energy, and whether we are sending that energy with awareness towards every part.
Excellent. I think this is a really good place to transition into the interview portion. So tell everyone about Vamsi, your work, and sort of your commitment to growth and development.
Absolutely, Savio. So I'm not like a marketing or sales guy. As I said, like, I'm an introvert. I started my career when I was 19 years old, originally from India. And I was working in a corporation for, at that point, back in like early 2090, not 2000, like 97, for about like $30 a month. My first IT job. I was not really bad. I was like really enjoying what I was doing. Again, one of the principle is learning. Am I learning every day? Every day I used to learn so many things. One day I met one of my friend's friend. He came from Singapore, and he said the life in Singapore is so good, and opportunities for IT people are so amazing. So I had no idea where Singapore was on the map. I went to a travel agency, and with somebody's help, and I got a visitor visa to Singapore. So I moved from the place I was in India to Singapore for very first time, along with one of my good friend, and I 100x my income from $30 a month to $3,000 a month. Awesome. So I looking back at that, what did I do there? Because I stepped out from my comfort zone. My communication was not that great. I did not even have a college degree at that point. And I was just 21 years old. And I started doing that more in my life, Savio. That is where it's been like long journey, 23 years of corporate career. I moved out from corporate about like 18 months ago, and I'm doing this full-time coaching business. So while I was in the corporate, I was leading bigger teams across the globe and various like maybe different roles. I was also helping many people above me, below me, across me. So one day after attending a conference from Tony Robbins, I asked myself, I think I should be doing something what Tony is doing, because not many people got access to Tony. I personally invested like maybe more than $300,000 on my personal growth on various channels, like maybe working with people like Tony, Brendan Bouchard, Robin Sharma, being in their masterminds, and working with one-on-one coaches. So, but not many people got access to the information that I have. And I started maybe drafting, like how can I just like maybe start sharing my information. It all started with one client. Now I have hundreds of clients across the globe. Last night we had a call with multiple people. People joined that call from Thailand, Singapore, awesome. Australia. It's all like a journey. So to summarize everything, the program that I created is called Personal Mastery. So 3 components in this program. One is the mindset. Everything starts with a mindset. The moment you start tuning your mindset, there is no cap, no limit. The second component is all about momentum. How to gain the momentum. And the final component is all about the mastery. How you are going to be separating from everyone else. How you are going to be standing out from the competition. Whether you are an entrepreneur making like maybe $50,000 a month or $5 million a month. I have clients from all pretty much like the spectrum. People in the corporate, people in the entrepreneurship. So, but these 3 things are pretty common. I help them to get into the next level. That's a quick overview.
So what are some sage advice that you would give for someone who's up and coming, someone who has this vision for their life, but they really don't know where to begin?
I think start now. Don't wait for a perfect opportunity, perfect moment. Everything is outside of your comfort zone. The moment you step out from there, you're going to be seeing possibilities. You're going to be seeing many wonders. We all have the same capacity, but 95% of the time, including myself, we are telling stories to our mind, different stories. I think you can only make this much. You can only run this much. David Goggins is a phenomenal guy. Maybe most of your audience, I think, like maybe know him. So he always says something that we all need to keep in our mind. The moment you think you are done, you're just 40% done. There is still 60% remaining inside of you. So if you just like maybe use that like maybe 5%, I think we are going to be unstoppable. You're going to be going extra mile.
And what were some of your sort of things that you sort of encountered in your life that you've overcome? What are some tips or things you can give my audience that sort of will help them avert some very negative aspects?
Sure. One simple story. When I was in corporate, maybe 11 years ago, I moved into a management position. Very first month, Savio, I supposed to give one keynote speech in front of like my team. I prepared really well for the speech, but I thought like it's only like maybe people who are going to be reporting to me. And my mindset was just expecting 15 people in that room. Suddenly I realized that like maybe 100 plus people in the auditorium. Wow. Immediately my mind kind of like, this is not what you prepared for. So this is not like maybe you're going to be delivering. I completely bombed on the stage. I felt like a big failure. That night I could not even sleep. I was like completely like maybe lost my mojo. Next day morning I went to the work. My intention was talk to my manager and tell him, thank you for this opportunity. This is not me. I cannot handle these kind of like maybe stage shows or maybe present in front of larger audience. This role that you offered me, expect me to do those of things. So I think like I don't want that role. I wanted to go back to my previous role. So that was my intention. I went there. My manager at that point, he said something I think completely transformed the way I was thinking. He said, very first thing, Vamsi, you did pretty well yesterday.
Wow.
So that is something completely shocked me. And I was about to tell him I would have done a little better. And he said, there are going to be more opportunities down the road. This topic is over. I stepped out from the room and I decided somebody believed in me. So I do not want to let that person down for any reason. And I asked myself, what can I do to meet those expectations? What can I do to just like maybe give my best towards like maybe his belief? And I started investing into programs like a Toastmasters. This was like 11 years ago. That was my first one. Then I started going to conferences. Every single month after my paycheck, paying my bills, whatever is remaining, I did not put into my savings account or maybe stock account. I started like asking myself, how can I use this money to transform my life? The reason I became who I am now, because of those investments that I made over the time. So to answer maybe to the message for all of you, always think about it. The money sitting in your bank account is not going to be helping you unless you becoming more valuable. So you need to start thinking about, if you have $100 sitting in your account, put $10 into your brain. Start going to conferences, start reading books, maybe go to Audible if you don't have time, listen to those books. Information is available everywhere. Most of the time people think, I can watch this from YouTube, I can do it from this. No, that's not going to be helping you. You're going to be just consuming maybe lunch from McDonald's, snack from Burger King, dinner from Taco Bell. That is what like YouTube content is. Unless somebody like Savio, somebody like maybe a coach, hold your hand and give the right information. So you need to definitely work with the person to bypass the learning curve. Otherwise, after 10 years, you're still going to be there consuming that free information. You're going to be obese, just like the person who eats in McDonald's every single day. Obese with information, you don't get transformation. The coach is somebody can hold your hand and help you to cross the finish line.
I love that. That's really great. That's really great. I have a personal belief that everyone has their own personal commandments. What are some of yours?
But I have some principles that I operate on. I think like your life is not about just like you. Your life is all about how many people that you touch.
Wow.
This is also going back to one of the famous quote from Zig Ziglar. If you help people around you get what they want, you get whatever you want. So those are the things, like it's the same for in the business. It's same for the relationship. It's same everywhere. Xavier, if you help your kids what they want, they'll give you what you want. You want their love, so that if you want to do same with your clients, you get this exactly the same thing.
And what would you say when it comes to obstacles and things that stand in people's way? What do you suggest people do?
Always the inner voice inside of our head. The biggest obstacle that we ever have is the story that we are telling it to ourselves. The only person that pulling us down is nobody else. That's just us. We are telling you are not good enough. You are not like capable enough. The very first thing that I help my clients to do is come up with like maybe what are the limiting beliefs that holding you back, right? There are two ways, a simple analogy, Xavier, for your audience. There are two ways that you can make a boat go faster. Okay, one way, keep the existing boat, add a bigger engine. Go to BMW showroom or go to the company and get that engine, install it on your boat. That engine requires a lot of maintenance. That engine requires more fuel. You can go faster, but at the end of the day, you will be burned out. You will be tired. That is one way. Second way, look at your boat and see what are the things that does not belong in this boat and let them go. So your boat will be lighter and you're still going to be going faster. This time, you're not going to be burning out. You're going to be really, really happy with your journey.
Can you share a story with one of your clients that you felt made the biggest transformation?
Sure, absolutely. I think like many stories. One I wanted to share recently that transformed one of my client. She was working 50-60 hours, making good money, but that is not like maybe the life that she wanted to have. So the moment she signed up for the program, within the first 6 weeks, she cut her hours by almost like maybe half, and her revenue got doubled. Not just doubled, I think like maybe it's almost like close to 3 times. The reason behind working on the right things. Many times people think they need to work hard to make an impact. It's not working hard. This is almost like you have $1 million sitting in your bank account and you have an ATM card and somebody gave the PIN, but the PIN is not in a sequence order. No matter how hard you work on typing that PIN, you're not going to get the results unless somebody gives the sequence order, right? That is exactly the right work. I had an opportunity to just like help her to cross that pivotal point. Now looking back, this is I think like the best thing happened to her, and she's not going back to that old routine at all, because now she knows what is the right work, what are the things that she has to be focusing on. It's like one of like maybe many success stories.
Yeah, that's amazing, because you basically allowed her to tap into her own genius, which is great.
Absolutely.
That's
Absolutely.
awesome. All right, so tell my audience where they can find you on the internet.
Sure. Again, like I'm still introvert. I'm like not too much presence on my any of the channels. The best place to find me, go to LinkedIn and type my name, Vamsi.Polimetla or Vamsi Polimetla. You can see me. I have a website. I'm still like not 100% done with that. It's called Vamsi.coach.
Okay.
So
Vamsi.
still work in progress.
And can you spell your last name for my audience?
Sure, yeah. Polimetla, P as in Peter, Olimetla, T as in Tom, LA. Polimetla. I'll also send that information to you. Maybe you can put on your podcast notes.
Excellent. Well, Vamsi, I really had a great conversation with you. This was really eye-opening and also, I think, informative for most people to sort of get them to where they need to go. I always, as a coach, I always ask that question of where do you want to be? And sometimes people can't even articulate it. So I think it's important for individuals to have the steps or to know that the steps exist in order to get there. So thank you again.
Absolutely.
Really appreciate it.
I really enjoyed the conversation, Savio.
Okay.
I like your tip. I'm going to be implementing it right after this.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you again. Hi there. I really hope you enjoyed listening to today's podcast episode of The Human Resolve. If you feel that others may enjoy this episode as well, please share socially at The Human Resolve. They can also visit my website, thehumanresolve.com, where I offer one-on-one coaching sessions, daily prompts to move you in the right direction, sync directly to your smartphone, and a subscription to my weekly newsletter where I probe into the secrets from living smarter to feeding your 3 brains. If you could also help me out and give me a review and rating on this platform, because I do care what you have to say, I would really appreciate it. Now, get out there, my friends, and get busy living.